We're going to take a very quick break, and when we come back, another important conversation regarding youth addictions and the plague that presents itself on that front for many in our Aboriginal community. Simeon Tshakapesh coming right up. Don't you dare go away. Welcome back to the program. Let's go to line number 2. Good morning, Simeon Tshakapesh. You're on the air, sir.
Good morning, sir.
How are you today?
I'm really good.
Good man. You go right ahead. What's on your mind?
Thank you. I just want to touch base on the mental health, the youth addictions in Labrador alone, just Labrador.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen other provinces like Saskatchewan, Ontario, and our province, our own province as well. They have established their own youth addiction treatment centers. But I think at this time, since we are in Aboriginal communities in northern Labrador, Labrador Coast and southern Labrador, and also non-Aboriginal kids who are engaging with substance abuse or any other form of substance abuse, drugs, any other type of substance that they're engaging at a very young age, even including alcohol. Mm-hmm. But I think it's time that we have this long problem. It started from Davis Inlet, and it was introduced to the youth in Davis Inlet at a time long before I was involved with solvent abuse myself. It was already introduced to our youth, older youth then. But I think over the years we've been talking about the substance abuse and alcohol abuse and another form of drugs that are now being introduced into our reserves in our communities and in North Coast Labrador and Goose Bay and Lab City and the whole 9 yards. But I think it's time that the federal government and also provincial government has to work with Labrador residents, including the Inuit people, both communities and Inuit communities, that we have to establish a center. I'm looking at the Goose Bay base, which is not being utilized, and there's a close hospital there that I think we need to establish Labrador Youth Addiction Treatment Center that will consist with the mental health issues, substance issues, codependency, and difficulty functioning in typical roles at homes, in schools, and the community as a whole.
I mean, I don't dispute that whatsoever. Whatever we have to do, and I think it holds true for communities in Labrador and on the island. Simeon, when children were taken away from Davis Inlet and brought into St. John's, I believe they went to St. Clair's initially and did some other rehabilitation work while they were here. The immediate pushback was that you can't take the children out of their community for a variety of reasons. Is that still the case? Can they be best served if we remove them from what is a dangerous environment for many of the children who are suffering addictions, with all the while knowing that we are going to bring them back, but then take them away and work with the families that are left behind so that they come back to a safer, more proactive and knowledgeable family unit when they return? Is that legitimate, or is that still not on the table and it wouldn't pass for you?
I think that those are very good points, and nobody's disagreeing with the methodology of how we approach with the addictions. But what I'm saying is really better to have our own center right in Labrador, the heart of Labrador, not in Newfoundland, not in Grand Falls, not in Gander. It's got to be within the area, within the radius of our own territory. Okay. And that's my question. I'm not disputing with the other treatment centers that they send out the kids, but keep in mind the stuff that we're dealing with Aboriginal kids and Inuit kids, Métis, and also non-Aboriginal kids. But I think we're dealing with multi-cultural issue here. And addictions is a very wide, worldwide problem. But I think we have to act now because a lot of our youth have been affected by it: substance abuse, drug abuse, alcohol abuse, and you name it, OxyContin. I heard about that in St. John's.
Oh yeah, look, we have major
and that's all over now. But what I'm saying is, it's time that federal government take this very seriously, that we need to establish where we can have access to resources in Labrador rather than sending our kids out of the provinces, along with the CYFS. Got to support this idea. And the politicians today that I'm going to be challenging them the time, even our Labrador candidate, I'm going to be meeting with him pretty soon and discuss with this issue. And Providence has got to be on side with this. And I think it's time that we got to invest in our youth. Any youth, doesn't matter what race, who we are. And I think there's a good Happy Valley Goose space that can establish the center, that they have a school over there, that they can have a really healthy lifestyle setting. And that's the only way I think we will be able to save Aboriginal kids or any other non-Aboriginal kids. I know there's a lot of problems out there which nobody's disclosing.
No, that's right.
And that's very respectful, and I respect that. But we do have a lot of trouble youth today, as you know.
Yeah, and you and I have spoke about this many times. Like, I think the last time we spoke is you were telling us a story about how you came upon a group of kids in an abandoned house and found them in, various states of sickness and addiction, and it was quite scary. Are there simple solutions or simple components to a solution available? We've tried dry communities, and of course people will go to the ends of the earth to smuggle in alcohol. And then we have kids that are on the street. We've seen the television pictures where they'll be sniffing gas and it's obviously dark. And then you tell us a story where you came upon them in the middle of the night in this home one night. Can we implement something, even something simple as a curfew? We have no one...
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, eh?
It doesn't really matter. Let's say if you have a patient have a diabetes in Goose Bay and you send them off into the country, is that diabetic person is going to be cured, is going to do any good in the country to cure his diabetes?
No, and I understand that. And I think there may be...
And that's what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is there's got to be another method, and I think this method, it will work, because the kids are now who are affected by alcohol and substance abuse are using a way of coping mechanisms, right, and to run away the problems. But I think if we invest today, the money that we invested today in Musquat Falls is billions and billions and billions of dollars. And that's something I think we have to start investing in our youth today. And I'm, as a Deputy Grand Chief, and I'm speaking for Natoshish and Shashashi, and for what I'm seeing, the problems within the years of my political life and my private life, my public life, and also my private life. I've seen this through over the years. And the federal government has to do something about it, because I know other provinces have their own ranches where they send their treatment, where they send their kids. But I think it's time Labrador has to step up the plate. And I'm urging Labradorians to say, God, this is what we need in Labrador. We need the center. We got the clinic we got a hospital in Goose Bay, and we need mental health therapists. We need psychologists. We need those kind of people, and we want to make a headway in modern society today with the Aboriginal kids or any other non-Aboriginal kids. And I think it's time, and this is probably the best time, I think, this needs to be discussed openly, because we need something in place, because there are a lot of youth problems we have today, not only on Aboriginal communities.
Yeah,
all over Labrador.
Yeah, and
Labrador City has their own problems with the youth.
Yeah.
Happy Valley Goose Bay have their own problems. Other small towns in southern Labrador has Newfoundland and St. John's, Gander, Grand Falls, everywhere.
There's no community that is untouched by this, and I think that's a fair comment. You and I have discussed in the past too. We have to help the children. We can't lose a generation of Aboriginal children. But then at the exact same time, while we're treating the kids and their addictions, we have to help the parents help their children, because it's a big part of it, and I think that goes untalked, because some people find it uncomfortable insinuation that the parents have maybe not done the best by their children. But I think that you agree that while we help the kids, we have to help the parents have the resources and the understanding and treatment for their own particular issues.
Or any parents.
Or any parent. Oh, I agree.
We're not just labeling Aboriginal people.
I didn't, and I won't.
I'm speaking as a whole of Labrador.
Sir. I understand that 100%.
That's what I'm implying. I'm not just speaking as an Aboriginal people. I'm speaking as a whole of Labrador, because I know there's a lot of problems in Goose Bay. I know that for a fact, and I know there's a lot of problems in Labrador City. I've seen the problems. I've seen the youth, and I think this is the time. I think we need to look at the federal government and provincial government, that they have to do this with the youth in order to save our Aboriginal youth or non-Aboriginal youth today. Because right now some centers have now with accredited educational component in their treatment. Why can't we have Labrador that? Why can Labrador have that? Because Labrador have a lot of resources. Voisey's Bay Mine, Musquat Falls Mine, Musquat Falls Project, and the Gull Island Project, and other explorations that's been taking place in Labrador. And I think it's time the politicians, whoever's running candidates, has to be on side with me. Whoever is on side with the youth, because these youth are the future. Because 30 years from now, we're probably not going to be alive.
It's going to be the next generation falling into the same pitfalls.
And we got to start educate the young people today. We got to start investing the young people. We got to start doing that rather than Child and Family Services sending them off to other provinces. We should be able to work with our youth within our own Labrador area, where there's culture is involved, where there is Inuit culture, Innu culture, Métis culture, and non-Aboriginal kids culture. It's all one component. Why can't we do that in Labrador?
Well, we have to. Simeon, I do have to get off for the break, sir. I appreciate the time. It's really a critically important conversation, and I look forward to speaking with you again.
Thank you very much for giving me the time, and God bless.
No problem. Take care. Bye-bye.
Yep.